You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Castle After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Castle After Show.
Hello, hello, hello. Bingus for doing, and we are doing another episode of Castle Season 5, Episode 13, titled Recoil. I'm your host, Bamm Ericsen, and I would like to introduce my co-host.
Hi, I am Paige Sullivan.
I'm Samara Bay.
And I'm Larice, Shamar.
So tonight's episode, we returned back from a 2-week hiatus. What did you guys think? Just quick thoughts. Paige.
Like I said, from the mixed reviews of the hosts who didn't like it or liked it, I think it was necessary. We lost track of Beckett's biggest, concern in life. Why she became a detective, basically, is to avenge her mother's death and to figure out who killed her. And so we haven't seen that in a while because we've been wrapped up with Castle and Beckett, the love story. And so I think it was necessary to bring it back, slow it down, and kind of delve back into what really, gets to her when she's having, a hard time.
Samara.
Castle is an amazing show that really just goes wildly between these silly episodes like 2 weeks ago with the Girls Gone Wild.
Right.
And then this thing that just, it had a tiny bit of a sense of humor, but really it was dark and it was quiet and it was really a serious detective show on television, NCIS or whatever. NCIS.
I feel like it was even slower than one of those.
Way slower. Yeah. Well, and as we'll probably discuss, more psychologically complex. So, listen, I totally enjoyed it throughout, but it wasn't fun. I mean, that's the whole idea. It was not trying to be fun.
Larice.
Yeah, I think it was kind of real slow for myself. I'm so used to the upbeat, especially with Esposito. Ryan actually had more of a interest in the episode this time. He was kind of real, especially with Bracken and with Beckett. The Castle Beckett situation, it was kind of it was not there. It's kind of I like it, but I really don't because I kind of missed them, the whole love affair. And the whole episode itself, they have no type of love connection. It was really seriously about what's happening, the murder, the investigation, how can we solve it. So, it was good, but, I'd like to see more of the fun, the lighthearted episodes that they normally have.
And for me, I thought it was a little lackluster. I do like that they backed away from the Castle-Beckett relationship, but there were still moments. You saw them in house together. When she was at the house, he's coming in bringing champagne. So they're still showing parts that they're still in a relationship. But for me, the show overall lacked. It was boring to me.
And just to jump in about the Castle-Beckett thing, the danger with these shows, as we all know, is that when the two leads who have sexual tension get together, the sexual tension dies. And I feel like we totally saw that happen in this episode. Partly because obviously they just weren't planning on, their goal was not to make an episode that was about how sexy and fun the two of them are together. But as a result, when he left her with all those letters on the table, he didn't even kiss her goodbye. And I know that's when they were in the precinct. I know, but
they can't.
And then when they saw each other later, it felt like it was very...
I'm okay with them not focusing on the relationship and how they're getting back to what we've seen, what we witnessed for the past 5 seasons, just of the murder investigation. But it was very serious, and for me, I'm used to a little bit more oomph.
But I think Castle was really trying to understand where Beckett was coming from, because Beckett was really distanced from not only Castle but everyone, because he just have such a aggression towards the whole murder and you know, with Brackett and the murderer themselves. But it was just really, he was just kind of like, hey, you know, I'm here for you. But it's like she just kind of brushed him off, especially with the whole champagne when he kind of came in. She didn't care about that. She just was like, hey, it got to be more. You know, she kind of rambles about what she thinks and what she should do and everything. But he just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna take it, you know.
Yeah, but when anybody's in a relationship and you see your partner or whoever struggling and going through something that's really tough, I mean, Castle's job in this whole episode was just to be there. He didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to say anything. He was just supposed to be there to support Beckett. And I think he did that. Even when they were reading the letters and she said, you know, go home, you're tired. And he didn't kiss her or anything, but he did, you know, tap her arm and he said, you know, you're a remarkable woman. I mean, something like that. Is that what he said?
I think you're right.
I think so.
I mean, he's showing he supports her and that he cares about her without. I mean, if my boyfriend came up to me and started trying to kiss me or something and I was stressing out about that, I'd be like, no, go away. And I think Castle knew that.
I'd be the opposite. I'd be like, come on, give me more.
Yeah. Well,
No.
speaking of, no way. Let's go into some other mentions, and one being that Alexis was mentioned. She didn't appear in this episode, but it was mentioned that Castle that she has a new boyfriend. So Castle is not really feeling that. So let's just talk about a couple of the mentions of people who were either in the episode or who were mentioned. So let's go into Alexis.
Yeah, she's got a boyfriend. But it can't be serious, apparently.
Yeah, but you know what? Castle's playing the typical father. You know, he's like, hey, you know, her boyfriend has to be pre-approved by me before he dates her and everything. Just like any father would do, because they want to kind of make sure their daughter is dating the right man. Yeah. You know, at least somebody up the Castle standard.
Yeah, Castle's standard wasn't very high, though. I mean, Castle was a player until he met Kate, you know?
But, but that's different. You know, a man can be totally, he could be, he could be anything he wants. But when it comes to his children, we have high standards. That's just the way it is.
As you should. But I think maybe you should hold yourself to higher standards as well.
I mean, you live and you learn.
Yeah, you know.
Well, but also it gets us back into the territory that we were talking about, I think, last time about, like, she's 18. She doesn't actually live at that house
She's in
anymore.
college.
She's in college.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, he doesn't have to approve of a guy for her to date that guy.
I guess he's just really more on the idea of, hey, I was once a college guy. I know what it is that, you know, what college guys do to, like, young freshmen and everything. So it's kind of like more like taking advantage of the situation, you know, because she's probably never really been away from home. So now he's kind of worried about her and her interaction with, you know, the opposite sex. And he just want to make sure that anybody she dates, that at least he kind of pre-approves them, even if the guy is totally the wrong guy for her to date. But at least he can say, like, you know what, I met the guy, we had a conversation, and whatever happens after that, I can just kind of guide you through it, but your decision is your decision.
But that's never how it works.
I know.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I'll leave my 2 cents out.
Oh, sorry.
So let's go into Gates. She was back after, we haven't seen her in how long? At least a
Certainly
month.
since the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice to see her. I feel like she's that, you know, angry person that they need. She's never happy. She doesn't even come out and say, how's the case going? It's what we got. Like, she's not.
And she has the mayor always on the phone now saying, how further are we on the case?
But why does I've never met a mayor who calls to check up on cases this often.
I think it's because of the senator.
Yeah.
I understand that, but
it always appears that she's always on the phone with the mayor.
It kept the urgency going.
She's very important.
Well, maybe
she was making them up. She's like, oh, it's the mayor again.
Maybe she and the mayor, you know.
At the Standish.
at the Standish Hotel.
You know, hey.
Who knows?
Anything is possible.
So it was good to see her. And then let's go into Lainey, played by, of course, a friend of the show, Tamala Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, she
was in there, quick second.
in and out.
I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, I like her character. Like the whole her and Esposito thing. I mean, I hope it was fun to kind of see them interact with each other, but now it's like, I blink, she's gone.
Yeah, Castle writers and the creator of the show, I'm really disappointed of the fact that Tamala's not in there. You know, she hinted that, you know, she would like to see her mom be played by Pam Grier and that potentially have a love interest played by Dwight Howard. And so it's like, Dwight is willing to come on the show. I mean, like, hook it up. Give her some more.
Yeah, I think right now, though, they're focusing a lot on, like we've said, they were focusing on Esposito for the last couple episodes, last 2 to 3 episodes. And before that, it was Castle and Beckett. We don't know. Her time may be coming. Who knows? It's been too serious right now, and there's been too many different relationship shifts to really focus on her. I mean, what would be the point of focusing on her? What would we see? Talking to Lainey.
For the fact that she's a cast member, she's a regular, she's a regular series member, and there's only 9 episodes left. So come on, people, get with it. You know,
I think she like later on in the episode. I think within the 9 episodes, I think she would kind of have more of a appealing role.
I hope so. The therapist, he was back.
He was back.
Yeah.
And you know that's pretty much the only person that Beckett can speak to about her situation of her mom and the Senator Bracken. So what do you guys think?
It's interesting because she lies to Castle during this episode when she gets the letter and doesn't share it, and then she does have this. That's exactly when her therapist comes back into the picture, so that we have some way to see what's going on in her mind. I don't know. I mean, it felt like it would have been nice if she'd been able to share that with Castle instead, but instead we have this neutral therapist.
But had she shared the information with Castle, how do you think he would have responded?
He would have told her to do what she wanted with it. I mean, he'd say, make the choice that you need to make.
He probably would have done the right thing. He probably would have been fine. It's just that she gets this way about particularly this sort of case.
Especially when her mother's murder's involved. I think a big part of it is, though, she has broken down a lot of walls since we first met her towards Castle. And maybe, it's just a progression of the relationship. She's not ready to let those walls down yet. She's not ready to say to him, I was contemplating throwing this case. I'm contemplating letting somebody murder this person. And I'm okay with that.
But she did mention it after the fact. She met her therapist and
once
everything.
she made the right decision, she mentioned she almost let somebody die. I mean, once she already did the bad things, or almost did them, then she came clean. And it was almost like to get it off her conscience because things kept working out. I mean, he kept getting saved. They kept getting the right person. They kept getting right evidence, and so it wasn't on her.
She became less and less useful.
It wasn't on her. She was purposely blowing it, and they were just picking up the pieces.
Which is actually funny. I mean, talking about how the other people on the show, picked up the slack this episode and what they got to do and what they didn't get to do, because they didn't get to do much. But what they were doing was like really good detective work. She kept trying to like hide the evidence, and they kept finding it.
And so that leads into the next topic, how modern technology was very useful in tonight's episode. One in particular was the dental implants. Larice, you want to go and explain that?
No, I just thought it was kind of like unique because I didn't know every dental implant has like a model number, serial number on it, and that's how they kind of identified Melanie off the serial number of her implant. Which is a great way because like when she died, when they found her, she had no teeth in her mouth because the killer just kind of felt like, hey, they can't find her dental work, so they won't be able to identify her. But with the dental implant, it allows them to actually find out who she is, and I think that's great.
Yeah, because I don't think you were able. I don't know. Do you guys think 20 years ago that was possible?
Nope.
Dental implants or tracking her without her teeth? I mean, there's a couple of questions in that. I don't think it was possible, and I think it's amazing. Some of these things that I still see on these shows, I'm kind of like, it's not real. You watch them like play with that screen and pull things over, and you're like, I don't know if that's real. But it's interesting to see, especially all of the things in this episode, they really drew from that. Normally they don't draw from technology, and this time that was a key factor in how they found evidence.
But I do think the dental implant and how they got. I do think that's real.
I think it is real. I think everything now is real. I know, like when you get like a knee replacement, there's numbers on that. I mean, that was made somewhere, and so if it's a faulty one, you have to be able to track that, and not just for like malpractice or things like that. So I would assume everything has a record. I wouldn't necessarily think it has your name attached to it, maybe the manufacturer or the doctor, but I guess, from there you can track.
I think most implants that they actually put in the human body now, they do have like serial numbers on them because like a lot of the sales rep that I do know, they have to, when they go into surgery, it's like certain products that like they actually purchase and they just kind of sell to that specific doctor. So they kind of basically know who they sell into at that time.
It's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
There was also, though, a nice combination of the sort of fancy tech stuff that we were seeing with the screens and and then on the other hand, you get to see Esposito and Ryan like going door to door to all these like random mechanics shops in Paterson, New Jersey.
Right.
So it's like sometimes it's still all about the boots on the ground.
Yeah, because not every technological thing is efficient and doesn't always work as it's supposed to, and the manpower is important as well. I mean, they found out his name. They're the reason they found out his name. I mean, granted, the technology helped us figure out which, mechanic shops were in this area or whatnot, but without them, you could have found that on a map, a regular map.
Yeah.
What the sound tech, the sound technology that they were using in order to figure out the Zippo lighter, and which when you heard the lighter, making the click noise, it was Castle who actually recognized and heard that it was a specific Zippo lighter. And then once they went into the precinct, they had all this technology where you can turn up the sounds, bring it up, and so.
And that ended up playing a major
Huge
part in it, because it's true that McManus thing, I mean, I don't know what you guys felt like and our viewers, but I felt like I didn't buy the McManus thing, and when they put him away, that whole thing felt a little off. And so when it felt off to Beckett, I was like, okay, good. So what's going on?
Yeah, no, I said it while we were watching it. I mean, usually I hold my opinions, but when we saw him get off that elevator, I said, I don't think he killed him.
You don't hold your opinion.
I do sometimes.
No, we're good at hiding it a little bit. So that this can be fresh and real.
Yeah, no, but I said I don't think he killed him, because his face, even the way Beckett said, she saw pain in his face. He didn't look like somebody who just killed an innocent girl to get back at somebody. And when you read the story of why he wants revenge on Bracken, there's no ulterior motives other than the fact that he killed his son. He wouldn't have killed Melanie, and that's why.
The fact that he didn't smoke and that the Zippo was a total red flag.
I think it was a bad framing of McManus.
It was a good framing. I mean, it worked at first.
Sometimes.
If Beckett didn't have that vendetta against Bracken, would she have kept looking?
There's been 1 or 2 episodes where she does, when she doesn't feel right about it. But your point is absolutely taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The construction site was another useful technology.
Because that was so. I don't know if I believe that, because they heard the certain type of construction tool that's only used in these 12 places in town.
That was above my head. I was like,
far-fetched, but at the same time, it's like, hey, it kind of helped him out because they found the car. Because, like, on the voicemail she left her sister, she kind of left, like, the first 3 letters of the actual, like,
the license plate
and everything. So it kind of helped him out. But it kind of helped him get into the actual murder where, hey, somebody's trying to assassin Bracken.
But then, sometimes in murder investigations, it's always that needle in a haystack that always opens up doors or you're able to, find or get to the bottom of a murder. So it can work. It's a toss-up for me.
I also thought it was it strained credulity a little bit that the sister hadn't noticed that she had a voicemail waiting from her own sister who
missed call from
died.
Yesterday. I didn't know she called me, but.
Well, we all have issues with our iPhones.
So. Team Android, but no, actually, that happens sometimes. Because sometimes I don't always check my voice messages, and so if it pops up, I just think that it's just
from your sister who you just found out died.
No. But what I'm saying is that, like, I'll have, like, even
missed
right now,
calls.
I have voice messages that I know are on here, but I didn't check them because I already know I've already spoke to that person.
Then delete them.
Yeah, I could.
Or listen to them in case there was some like beautiful nugget of wisdom.
But no, sometimes when your phone is off, it doesn't come up as a missed call. And so if you call when the phone is off, it won't pop up as a missed call. It's only if you leave a message.
Right.
I agree. You're right.
Right, but a whole day goes by. I'm sure she looked at her phone. There's a little number 1 that comes up right next to your little dial area, and it says you have a message.
Anyway, we can move on.
Anyways, okay, if you have an iPhone, I'm assuming you have iTunes, and you can check us out on iTunes. Every week, our podcast will be uploaded after we do it here live, and you can also check on all of your other shows as well if you'd like to, but ours is, particularly good. But if you would like to rate it, because we think it's awesome, and if you do too, then that would be great. And comment, tell us what you're thinking. Your thoughts and opinions are definitely important to us, and they help us better this show every week. And tell a friend if you think they'll enjoy the Castle After Show or any of the other AfterBuzz after shows that you watch. So check out iTunes. And also, we have clothes and merchandise and mugs. So if you want any of those, you should check out AfterBuzzTV.com, and we have a banner, and you can go to our merchandise and purchase, some T-shirts.
Yeah, we have men's clothes, women's clothes, we have baby clothes, and we have some great AfterBuzz accessories. We have some great mugs. We have water bottles. We have
these things that you're wearing.
Bracelets?
Wristband.
I don't know.
No, actually, these are not on the site, but Martin, I'm assuming that they probably will be at some point, right?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah. So we have some great stuff. So you guys make sure that you guys go to our store on www.afterbuzztv.com.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's go into the Beckett bracket. There was a lot of tension between these two, and then Beckett also, her conscience was dealing with her. So let's discuss.
We gotta get wristbands on the store now.
That was a memo to.
I'm
Phil.
ordering them for you, Bamm. Wristbands. You just gave us the idea. We didn't have it until now.
Well, there you have
Had a
it.
kid.
Nice.
Wristbands.
Done.
Well, Beckett and Bracken, the last time we saw them together, it was a whole, is she going to kill him, is she not going to kill him?
Right.
Kind of situation. And that was intense. And I remember when she didn't kill him, we were like, and she just punched him in the face, or was that called a pistol whip or something?
Yeah.
I don't know what that's called. And she left that scar, and you could kind of see the scar on his cheek.
I wanted it to be a little better.
I wanted it to be like drastic, but it wasn't.
It's old.
Not that old. I mean, but the last time we saw her, she was contemplating killing this man.
Right.
And now she has to protect him. First, she thinks he killed her. Then she thinks that somebody's trying to kill him, and now she has to protect him. It's just this weird web that she's stuck in, and there's no real right answer in terms of what she thinks is right.
And she sort of tries both. I mean, she tries to kind of let the killer go by not shooting him, and sort of waiting to see if the killer kills Bracken. And then when she has the opportunity to let Bracken die at the end and get blown up,
She doesn't.
She doesn't.
What a good girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he owes her, sort of, maybe, if we trust him.
He's so creepy, though.
Which we don't.
Yeah, we don't trust him. And he's like, everybody needs friends in this town.
Right.
Not a friend that murdered my mother and my boss and tried to kill me.
And now we know also some, like, sweet 24-year-old boy who was his intern or something.
And when she asked him, he says, if I said no, would you believe me?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I think the whole Beckett bracket interaction, it was kind of like he just felt like, hey, I always have the upper hand on you because you feel like I killed your mother. Well, I did kill your mother, but at the end of the day, it's just like, now you have to help me out. Because every individual conversation that they had in closed doors, he just kind of looked at her as if like, you can't do anything to me. And, and Beckett's response is like, her face and everything about her is like, I want to kill you, but at the same time, I have to save you right now, So I just kind of felt like, in a way, he still had the upper hand over her, and and she still kind of had to obey to what he needs in his life right now, even though the whole thing is to save him. But at the same time, it's just kind of like he was the man.
Do you think she should have? There was a point where we thought that she was going to burn the letters. Did you really think that she had burnt the letters, or do you think that she...
No.
No, you didn't?
No, I think I said during that commercial break, it's so not her. And I know she was trying to go against character because she really just wanted that guy to die.
But it just kind of goes back to
couldn't do it.
when she met her therapist, that whole conversation, what should she do? I think she kind of had a lot of twists and turns within herself of this episode which, about the bracket situation, because she really wants to I want to see this guy die, but because of the code of being a police officer.
Do you honestly think she wants to see him die, or she just wants justice served? I mean, what is she? If she kills him, that's on her. And now she's murdered somebody, because most likely it's not going to be kind of in a shoot-off. It's going to be her versus him, and he's probably not going to have a gun. if you think about it.
But she wanted the murderer to kill him.
She did subconsciously, I don't think she wants that. I think she wants justice to be served. I think she wants to bring him down, put him in jail, do what she does to every other murderer. I don't think she's going to.
Ryan got to say that. Ryan got to like actually be the one who said the thing of like, if you just kill him, then you're as bad as he is.
He said that to Esposito. Yeah. And Esposito said, I'd kill him.
Ladies, I do agree that she says Beckett says she wants him dead. That's what her mouth says. But her conscience and everything else just can't do that, because if she really wanted him dead, she'd have shot his ass right there point blank. But she didn't. So it's just kind of one of those things, like there are certain things or people that just kind of tick you, and you always say, oh, I can just kill you, or oh, I can just choke you, or I just wish you'd fall down the stairs or something. And it's like it's like you say that, but when you think about it, it's not what you really want.
No.
So I just think it's one of those things where she says, like, I just want to kill you, but obviously she will never let that happen.
It's like what we were talking about last time, actually, about how all of the shows, when you finally see the reveal of who did it this week, that person always has a great reason.
Yeah.
And sure, we all understand their motivation, but then they killed someone, and she's just not taking that final step.
Right, and I guess with her being a cop and always having to hear people's reasons for why they want to justify why they want to murder someone, is there really a justification to murder someone?
Self-defense. Yes. Self-defense. I think. And
Which in a way this is, because he's, a murderer. And
I think she just wanted to revenge her mother's death.
Yes.
And the death of like a lot of the other people that Brackett probably had interactions with for reason for them to be dead. I mean, can you even look at McManus, his son? They kind of feel like, oh, Brackett's the cause, but is he really the cause of his death?
Well, okay, but here's my thing. When you kill Bracken, everybody who worked with him, everybody who killed people for him, everybody who was involved in that is still there. They still exist, and that kind of dynamic still exists. People are still going to die for whatever Bracken was working towards. We don't really know.
Yeah.
If you take him down, the legal way, the right way, and really figure out what's happening, when they find a mob boss, they don't kill the mob boss. They take down the mob.
Yeah.
They put them all in jail. It doesn't stop the mob from reforming and having their children get together, but it's one of those things you can't just kill him, because that doesn't solve her problem. It doesn't fix it.
And this is clearly what they're setting up, is that obviously this is going to now be a longer term thing, and that maybe he's going to run for president.
That was going to be my next question. You think Beckett and Brackett will actually have another encounter?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if they let him off the way they did, it's because he's now back on the loose.
Yeah. Well, really one quick thing as we, before we go into the murder investigation, it was also revealed, not sure if Gates believed it or not, but during the discussion with Beckett and McManus, she revealed that that the governor, killed his mom, and so Gates was listening. Senator, and so Gates said. She said something in regards to, I forgot, what was her exact words? She said...
Did she just say he killed her mom or something along those lines?
Castle tried to cover for him.
Castle said, "Oh, she's trying to get in his head. She's trying to, relate to him."
But then she says that thing at the end where she, doubles back and says, everything I've already said is true." And Gates did hear that, so it's left a bit gray whether or not. But listen, regardless, Gates obviously is suspicious because she pulls her from the case right after that.
Well, she pulls her from the case, and Beckett's trying to say, I could get it, and she says, "We found the bomb." So I don't necessarily think she pulled her from the case to take her off the case. I think it was the fact they found the bomb, problem solved, let's lock him up. We don't need him to talk anymore. And she was getting worked up in there, too. And whether or not it was because the true story of why she didn't like Bracken, or because she was just frustrated that he wasn't talking,
I think it was more so she was kind of relating to his pain.
Yeah,
because,
I think so.
She lost her mom.
She brought up the mom
and
stuff.
he lost his son on the factors of a Bracket, and she was just kind of begging and pleading with hey, just tell me what's going on, and I can kind of help the situation where we can kind of bring Bracket down, but you really have to talk to me because I understand your pain.
But for me, it would seem that Gates, being the tough ass that she is, that at some point in this episode, she would have pulled Beckett to the side and she would have asked questions about that, and she would have wanted to take her off the case.
Yeah, I agree.
So you kind of wonder.
also, I mean, when you think about it, Gates became their, captain? Is that the official term? Because their old captain
was murdered
as part of this whole thing.
She has no idea.
So what? Yeah, how much does she not know? I mean, I guess nothing.
Well, when Montgomery was part of it, he was barely even a cop when he was part of it, and he was killed for it years and years later. You know, he was involved in bad stuff, and that's why he was wrapped up in all this. And same with Kate's mother. And so this is stuff that happened years ago, and the only reason it's relevant now is because Kate knows about it, and Kate is really seeking vengeance on this. And so I honestly don't think anybody would know about it except for the guys, because she's let them know about it, and they've seen her be involved with these things. They saw Montgomery dying, you know, all that stuff.
And they did make a pact that the four of them would never discuss it or you know, reveal answers. So I don't know. All right, so let's get into the murder investigation. So, take it away.
We have mostly.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered a lot of it. I mean, it all starts with Melanie. Poor girl. We barely talked about her. She got burnt in a trash can, got her teeth knocked out, shot in the back of the head. I mean, she had...
What a way to describe her death. Hey,
all because she walked away from a...
Well, she walked away from the conference, and what he says is she probably saw him acting funny, and she went to see what he was doing. And so... she got messed up or caught up in some bad stuff. It's a huge case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah. She was murdered because of it. And the thing that blows my mind is that, you know, Bracken finds out she's dead, and it's just kind of like, oh, that's sad. He knows it has to do with him. You know, in some way, shape, or form, it had to do with him. There's no other reason this young girl would have been murdered. And he's just kind of nonchalant about it. But so we think it's Bracken. It's not Bracken. He has an alibi, and we find that trunk full of stuff. Once we find, like you mentioned, we find the garage and the car, and all roads lead back to McManus. He's angry. He sent a death threat, basically. You killed my son. I'm going to seek revenge on you. But he's a schizophrenic. He's kind of off his meds. He's unpredictable. It doesn't really seem like he can plan something this elaborate, is what we keep finding out, and he's not talking. He's obviously somebody who's hurt and in pain and whatnot. So that was really all we had. I mean, in terms of suspects, was Bracken and McManus. And then once we have McManus in custody and he's locked away, that's when, like we mentioned, Beckett kind of gets on this horse that there's a bomb threat, there's this, there's that. You know, he didn't do it, which leads to
it also seemed weirdly suspicious that Bracken was like this determined to go through with his speech.
Do you think he genuinely thought she was just trying to take him down?
I mean, but at the same time, he wanted to go with his speech because it's like, hey, this is a game changer for him. Like, doing this speech at this conference allows him to be more superior as a senator and just like what he stands for. So it's just like his mind was made up.
I totally agree, but anybody who was like less evil than him would probably have been like, I can figure out it. Like the conference could have been postponed a day or something. Like,
right, if there's a bomb threat on it's not even just his life, it's the people at his conference.
It made me feel suspicious that he knew what was going on and he wanted that, I don't know.
Which he didn't.
I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people in great power. If they don't actually see a bomb, they probably will still go through with it.
Well, I think when you're somebody like, you know, the president or a senator, there's, like you said, I get threats every single day. Being in the position you're in, there's a constant threat of being harmed. I mean, it's not uncommon. I mean, it's happened in our country that a president has been killed multiple times. And so there's so many precautions, but there's only so much you can do, you know? So if every time he thought there was a bomb threat or every time he thought there was a threat to his life and he stayed inside and didn't hold a press conference or didn't go to this, have this big speech, what would he get done? I mean,
exactly.
I don't know. I just think it was silly, and I also kind of think it was strange to me and a cop out because we never really got a justification as to why Noah, I think his name was, did all this.
But he was basically like hired by the.
Oh well, I know.
What was his name?
The kingpin.
Ben Moss.
The kingmaker.
Yeah.
Ben Moss.
But I mean, I feel like you need more than that to like justify
But even in the beginning,
somebody.
And that was the dude who was in his office.
Yeah,
in the beginning.
Like Ben Moss came to Brackett like for help support in the beginning. When Ryan Esposito came to the house, he was kind of basically talking to him like, "Hey, can you help support me in whatever adventure?" And it was never kind of like identify like what the reason why. So it's kind of like a lot of unanswered questions.
And so, speaking of unanswered, before we get into predictions, then let's just any final thoughts.
No, I mean, this episode, like I said, I think it was necessary. It wasn't fun. It was kind of nitty-gritty. It was a little boring at times. but I think it gave us a good insight into the fact that Beckett still isn't okay. You know, she kind of has been la-di-da, happy, funny, joking around, and she used to be very serious on almost every occasion, and now she's very lighthearted. And I think this is a reminder of who she truly is.
Yeah, I mean, normally these shows have an A plot and a B plot, and this week the B plot was like her internal mind. So the A and the B plot were the same thing, and it was just driving towards this, and that was interesting to see in terms of like a kind of cat and mouse chase. But it isn't the Castle show that we all know and love. So
It's not why we come back each week. No.
I think overall, it just kind of basically shows like Beckett just kind of opening up more to Castle. You know, just like the whole relationship. Let me kind of learn more about your past and what you've been through to really kind of understand your present. And like, I think it's going to actually help their future overall.
in a way, it's true. It speaks, without them actually bringing this up, it totally speaks to that whole thing of the seed of doubt that was planted that he's always going to be sort of silly and goofy.
And he wasn't.
when she needed him this episode.
Yeah, he didn't joke around at all.
No.
There really wasn't.
Not enough.
Yeah, there was like no joking this episode.
No.
Well, let's go into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So next week is Valentine's theme, so it seems like it's going back to the traditional Castle episodes that we're used to. But what are your predictions for either next week or for the future? We'll start with ladies first, Paige.
I don't have any serious predictions. I think it'll be a funny episode. I think it'll be lighthearted. I think we will see, Valentine's Day things playing out and going awry, I'm sure. I wonder, maybe because we had the mention of Alexis's boyfriend, maybe he'll make a Valentine's Day appearance. Maybe double date with Dad.
Oh, yeah. So romantic.
But I think maybe he'll come out, It's the love episode.
Yeah.
I agree. I also read something online today that was giving some spoilers away.
Spoiler alert!
We're going to meet, it sounds like, Castle's father, long-lost father. Barbara Streisand is apparently such a fan of Castle that she got her husband
On the show?
to play Castle's dad, James Brolin. And that episode ends up being very dramatic, and apparently there's potentially a kidnapping of Alexis.
And James Brolin also, his son is Josh Brolin.
I was wondering,
Yeah.
is it true? Voila. There you
Who
go.
knew?
Yeah. Well, I think it definitely might be a little romantic. You might see Esposito with someone, maybe Lainey. That'd be a good look. But overall,
That'd be a good look.
that'd be a good look. It'd be like a change the pace. But overall, I think that next week is definitely gonna be more of a love fest throughout the whole episode. And I just think like in the future, we'll probably have more lighthearted episodes than like what we had tonight.
Okay, I have two predictions. The first one is I do think that this boyfriend will be revealed, being that it's Valentine's Day and relationships. So I think that will be revealed. And then I think as far as this Bracken situation, there's more to come because it was left unanswered. So I'm thinking that Bracken is going to come back either for Sweeps Week, which I believe is in March or April, or it'll be a part of the finale.
Yeah,
And then
finale.
hopefully there will be some kind of closure because I can't foresee them going into season 6 with this. Yeah. So my prediction is we'll see Bracken again for either Sweeps Week or for the finale.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I love that there's now two things that Gates has to figure out.
I know.
Yeah.
She would never figure out Castle and Beckett.
Yeah.
That could be a sweeps
Oh,
week
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That could be a sweeps week thing.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, it's got to happen at some point. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. And it's got to be the end. So we're going to wrap up. And so you guys, we want to thank you for tuning in to another AfterBuzz recap for season 5, episode 13 of Castle with ABC. Please let everyone know where you guys can be found on social media.
Yes, I am Paige Sullivan. You can find me on Twitter at PaigeSull and at perfectpage.com.
I'm Samara Bay, and you can find me at Samara Bay and thesmartyattheparty.com.
And I'm Larice Shamar, and you can find me at True Peoples and at truepeoplesmedia.com.
Yes, and you can find me at Bamm Ericsen, that's BAMMERICSCN on Twitter and Instagram, and you can also find me sometimes at truepeoplesmedia.com. All right, so thank you guys.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.